Originally, the expo was supposed to just be a fly tying expo with a bunch of guys tying flies and people coming to watch them. And then someone said to me, Gordon, why don't you incorporate other aspects too? And we did the first show in Cape Town at Lawrenceford, and it worked. So then we thought this year we need to move it to Joburg. We made it a meteor show. Fly fishing takes you to beautiful places. I needed to be in a place that sort of embodied what fly fishing is about, beauty.
Your first backcast should always be up.
The IFFF is the International Federation of Fly Fishers, but it's recently changed its name and rebranded to Fly Fishers International. It's based in the States, but it goes around the world. They're involved in a lot of programs of tuition, ecology, but their primary thing probably for us here is that they educate fly casting instructors, from basic fly casting, certified fly casting instructors, right the way through to double-handed salmon casting. The big thing with fly casting is practicing, but practicing the right thing. So it gives me the ability to give people the information to practice the right thing. I suppose it's almost like being a doctor. I'm diagnosing faults and providing cures.
The main reason I'm doing this talk today is just to explore a question I've been asking about largemouth. And is a largemouth a world-class fish? And we look at some of the iconic species out there and what makes the freshwater fish iconic that people spend fortunes of dollars traveling the world to go and catch.
Talking about largemouth yellows at the Expo with a particular interest in the conservation of the largemouth yellows. For too long now, I think people have been in the individual efforts and there hasn't been a collaborative effort for these guys to conserve. It's a case of focusing on the catchments long before just the species which we have there. And that as a platform for me has made this Expo really, really unbelievable.
At the moment I'm inspired by difficult fish. I create the bronze, which is one thing, but then the bronze becomes a canvas to me when I do the chemical patination, and each piece I do is different. Although it's an addition of, say, 15 pieces, but every single one will be different.
Yeah, it always goes back to Tom Sutcliffe, I guess, for me. I looked at Uncle Tom's stuff and his books, and I read it, and I was like, oh, super inspired by his style of fly fishing and how he represented it. Tiger fish have become very dear to me. I love them. Colors in a tiger fish, it's unbelievable.
I started the book initially almost 6 years ago. It's not a complete record of all South African flies. It rather identifies certain, what we term milestone patterns, which by virtue of their tying techniques or the materials used or something unique about them that made them different to what you get in Europe and England and America, they guided the style of fly patterns in this country.
So we've got all these fly ties in the middle of the main hall, and you can approach them. I mean, these guys are pioneers.
I started specifically with tying with painted foam. Ordinary 2mm foam that we paint with an acrylic paint and then seal with a plastic sealer called seal skin. And the main reason why we do it is Sterkfontein, that we fish mainly, is a massive dam with high winds, and you need a fly that can float all day.
The main inspiration for the Papa Roach came from guys like Dean Riphagen. Dean was like the godfather of stillwater fly fishing in our country, and he was doing a lot of progression on that. And he always punted dragonfly nymphs. So I designed this fly to overcome all those negative things on dragonflies. It fished very well, I think, simply because I got it right in the engineering part. And then I gave them to guys like Murray and Rico, and they met with immediate success, but not just success on catching fish, they caught big fish on it. The Papa Roach in KwaZulu-Natal is a rock star.
We've also got some international people who we've brought in this year, like Mark Perejan, who's world famous for his work with CDC.
I'm a great fan of CDC, which is a very good product for fly tying. I use it for the body, for the wings, also for the thorax and for the legs. And a guy who was not really able to see very well far away asked me to tie flies using CDC and something that he can see very far away. And one day I discovered that using this fly, the full feather for tying the body instead of dubbing the body, I mean, using the full feather here could provide a very nice flotation of the hook by using the full feather because it's a very light feather. And from that, I discovered that we can make no-hackle flies instead of classical hackle, which has been done for years and years. Because the feather is so fabulous, I mean, it has been successful in every country.
We also brought in the Italian rod builder Moreno Borriero. His work is fantastic and he's inspired our local guys.
In 2006, the association, Italian Bamboo Rod Makers Association, they held the first rod making class. The idea was just to have a bamboo rod, but from there it caught on, it took off, and it's been going strong ever since. I export most of my rods. France is my main market. Then I have rods in the US, I have rods in England.
The Terrapod is a 4x4 mobile experience. It's something that Land Rover has just introduced, and it allows us as dealerships, as Land Rover West Rand, to take the 4x4 experience to customers like a beautiful Expo like this, to allow the customer not only to experience a Land Rover, but experience the versatility and capability of our vehicles.
We run 3 major camps in the Indian Ocean, 2 of which are in the Seychelles and 1 of which in about 300 miles northeast of Mauritius on a place called St. Brandon's. We're hugely fortunate in terms of the species we find on these venues. It's pretty much a species wonderland. As much as we're a guiding business, we also do a lot of instruction, so we pretty much will look after the guy from the start of his fly fishing career until he reaches the pinnacle, which is obviously the Indian Ocean flat fishing.
Our core business is actually finding new areas. We hear rumors about new fisheries on different dark corners of Africa, and then we put in the work to go and look at these places and then set up fisheries. A cornerstone of finding these areas and creating a commercially viable guiding operation is to ensure that our presence in these fisheries has a very, very positive impact on both the communities that we work with, as well as the environment in which we work with.
We've got some wonderful trout fishing. The diversity of landscape, believe it or not, in the Karoo facilitates it. We've got yellowfish, mochel, mudfish, carp, barbel, bass, and most importantly, some wonderful, wonderful trout fishing. Our area is very family orientated. We're literally in the middle of nowhere, and it's completely rural environment, which gives people the opportunity to enjoy the outdoors.
We try and offer a product that's good quality, affordable, so more people can get into the sport and enjoy the sport. But we want to make sure that we can get it to the masses of people, give them a product they'll be happy with, and that they can grow within our range. So they can start out with something that's mid-range entry and move into a top-end rod that still doesn't really break the bank compared to maybe some of the international brands.
We're a fly fishing operation based in Bryanston in Johannesburg. We have a retail store and an online store. We're also the distributors for a whole bunch of top-end American products. And we run a travel business which runs trips out of this country to select locations around the world.
Well, I started fly fishing about 15 years ago, and at the same time I decided I'm going to tie my own flies. I bought a cheap entry-level vise, and every time I was halfway through a fly, the hook fell out, and I thought, no, I can do better than this. And I disappeared into my workshop for a few weeks, and this is the result. It has developed over time, but I made something that held hooks and met my needs. I do just about a full range of fly tying accessories.
We just want to have a bit more fun with it, with the fly fishing magazine, So we want to encourage people to get out there and to get inspired, rather than teach you how to fly fish, really. We do a limited print run of 3,500 print mags, and then we have the mag online for free. So we give the advertisers value that way. So they're paying for the ads, The ads are clickable. They can click on all the material, go straight through to the client's site. Internationally, South Africans can get seen overnight by international fly fishermen, Americans, Europeans, who suddenly get exposure to South Africa, and now they think they want to come out here.
I hope for the Expo to become a support system for the industry. I want the Expo to grow. I want the Expo to encourage people to fish more.
Up until now, we've tended to operate almost in silos. And for the first time, people are actually getting together. We talk about the brotherhood of fly fishing. And I think this is what this is achieving.
I met a lot of people who are good fishermen, good casters, good fly tyers. This is a great experience.
From what I can see, there is a lot of fly fishing talent in South Africa. It's an international level expo. It's organized in a fantastic way.
I think the Expo is brilliant. It's been a long time coming. It's a way of showcasing what fly fishing is all about for general members of the public as well.
I think the two elements for me where we need to improve is we need to do more in terms of the youngsters. I think the other element is to introduce more women into the sport.
Fishing is such a positive thing. You know, it gets you out in nature. It gets you breathing.